have 9 o'clock. Welcome to the Shelby County Board of Supervisors regular meeting, Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. Any conflicts?
None.
Can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Do you want to, number 13, do you want to remove that from the agenda, or?
You skip it when you get there.
Skip it when we're there?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, did you make a motion, Charlie?
Yep.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve the minutes from November 18th. Any changes or?
No changes.
Good to me, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Claims, they have a chance to look at those. Did you
Yes.
see anything out of ordinary?
One call, the question, it was answered quickly, so I appreciate that, and I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Steve Kinkle with the pipeline report.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Pretty short this morning.
Good.
I don't know, it kind of makes me unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah. District Court Judge said October 10th, it'd be at least 2 weeks. Well, we're gonna be pushing 2 months there pretty soon for a ruling. Can't really do anything until that happens. Like I said, as soon as that happens, I'll let you know. So hopefully next report, I'll have something for you. The only really new news is Summit filed a request for scheduling conference, and they wanted it in December. And they're like jumping the gun way ahead of all. And there was an objection to the Iowa Utility Commission today, this morning. I copied it off. It does a really good job of explaining what's going on. And it's from a landowner. So you can look that over. Other than that, you know, don't really have anything else going on. And then I get asked quite often on the Supreme Court ruling if that's going to, where I have a chance to get in front of the Supreme Court. According to our attorney, we should get a ruling notice if we move forward for February 1st, probably end of January.
It would take 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. He felt pretty confident with that because I do have a timeline to get back to people. So, if you have anything for me, otherwise it's just kind of sit and wait for right now. Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Good on you.
Okay, Darren Welsh with Grunwald Bell and
Hi, Darren.
fiscal year audit report.
Hi again, I'm Darren Walsh with Grunwald Bell Kine. Been with the firm for 20 years, so got plenty of experience. First year presenting to you guys, so just wanted to introduce myself a bit more. We've been doing the audit of Shelby County for 15 years, I think now. I'm gonna hand out. We'll start with the independent auditor's report. On page 2. The second paragraph states that, in our opinion, the company's financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of Shelby County as of June 30, 2024. The respective changes in financial position in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. That's giving a clean or unmodified opinion. This is what you're looking for. And just as a reminder, the last paragraph states the responsibilities of management. Is your job as part of management is you're responsible for the preparation, fair presentation, that you guys provide all the information to help prepare this, and then we put an opinion on it. The independent auditor reports, the next couple pages. MD&A is your guys' chance to provide additional information. We got through from Taryn. Won't go into too much detail on that. Turn over to page 4 is the beginning of the actual financials. There are 3 sets of financial statements required with the county audit report. Even starting with Exhibit A, even though you prepare budget and maintain books on a cash basis, The audited financial statements are on accrual and a modified accrual. Exhibits A and B are the first set of financial statements. A is the balance sheet, and this is a full accrual. So this includes all the funds and the internal service, your health insurance fund. It reports the capital assets, all receivables, payables, long-term debt, and the pension account. Some of the bigger numbers here, cash and pooled investments, you ended the year with $6.4 million, slight decrease from 6.6 last year. Large increase was the third item down, succeeding year property tax. Ended with $9.4 million, an increase from $8 million last year. The biggest increase is the adding of the EMS operations fund in 24-25 that will be started collected then. The last item on the top half of the page, the capital assets, you ended the year with $28.6 million of capital assets net. This is after accounting for depreciation of everything. Last year there was about $25 million worth of assets. A lot of this was due to new roads and your farm to market. Area. Bottom half of the page, liabilities, a lot of them are fairly comparable to last year. The long-term debt, your general obligation bonds, ended the year $970,000, paid off about $310,000 compared to the year before. Overall, your total net position on the right side of the page was $33.8 million, increase compared to last year at $28.8 million. Overall, the county continues to be in a good financial position, paying your debt, keeping current on all other aspects. Turn over to page 6 is your statement of activities. With being full accrual, this includes depreciation. You had about $2.1 million of all of your equipment, vehicles, and infrastructure that expensed out over its life, about $2.1 million. This does not include capital purchases because that's a cash basis item. You had about $5.6 million in capital purchases during the year. And this would not include the debt payment of $310,000. Your expenses for this year were $16.2 million, a decrease from last year. You had about $16.9 million last year. Big increase is the fourth item over, capital grants and contributions. You had about $4.1 million this year, increase from last year of $1.0 million. Big number here is the farm to market. You receive funds to pay for new bridges and roads. Overall, the total net revenue, expense, and changes in that position, you had about $4.7 million from direct without including property taxes. Last year, this was a cost of $10 million, so an improvement of over $5 million compared to last year. The bottom half of the page, this is where your big general revenues is your property taxes. Big numbers is you had about $7.8 million of property tax between the general purpose and the debt service. Slight increase from last year, about $7.2 million last year. Most of the rest of the numbers are very comparable. You get to your total change in net position. This year was a $5 million increase compared to last year was a $431,000 decrease. Turning over to Exhibit C. This is the beginning of your second set of financial statements for Exhibit C and E. This is on the modified accrual basis. The first 4 columns are your major funds, and then you have the non-major accumulation of all the smaller ones. This still has the payable receivables, The big difference is that there's no capital assets included in each of the funds. There's no long-term debt, no pension accounting, and does not include the internal service funds. That's a separate statement. Overall, you ended the year with $7.6 million of assets in the general fund, $3.3 million in the rural service. Secondary roads ended with $4,001,000, and EMS operations, you had assets of $1,089,000. This is your new fund, started in December of '23, so this is just half a year's worth of increase. Overall, you ended the year with $17.4 million of assets, increase from last year of $15.8 million. On page 8, the total fund balance, you ended with $6.5 million of fund balance. This is the net difference between your assets and your liabilities. Last year was $5.4 million. And if you have questions anytime, feel free to ask them. Exhibit D is showing the difference between your fund balance based off of A and C. Your modified accrual by funds was $6.5 million. The big difference is you had $28 million of capital. This includes your buildings, equipment, vehicles, and roads and bridges. We also include the internal service fund of $504,000. There's adjustment for the pension and the long-term debt to get the full accrual of the $33.8 million. Exhibit E is your modified accrual income statement by major fund. This does not include depreciation, but it does include the capital purchases. This does not include any farm to market revenues and expenses. Doesn't include pension accounting. Debt payment is an expenditure, so you will see that as decreasing your bottom line. Does not include the internal service fund, and that's a separate statement. And if there were any debt proceeds, that would not be included as an under financing source, but we didn't have any this year. Overall, your total revenues at the end of the year, you had about $7.3 million in general fund, 2.9 in rural services, secondary roads had 4.7 million, and EMS operations had $916,000. Total was $17.3 million of revenue. Biggest number there, again, is your property taxes, $7.8 million, and your tax increment financing, $185,000. Last year, that was total was $15.49 million, so an increase of almost $2 million. The expenditures in total were about $16 million. Last year, you had about $17.4 million, so you're keeping your expenses decreasing as much as possible. So
On the revenue, what's the intergovernmental, what does that include?
that would be any money from another government, so from the state of Iowa
Okay,
is big numbers. So that would be some of your property tax.
okay. Just a big number over
Credits.
there, the total is. Okay, thanks.
Overall, your change in fund balance at the end of the year for these funds was $1,112,000 positive, and the fund balance at the end of the year, $6.5 million. Turn over to Exhibit F. This is your reconciliation between the E and the B. Your modified accrual had $1.1 million of bottom line. We added expenditures for capital assets, and the capital assets contributed by the Iowa Department of Transportation with the farm to market. A total of $3.4 million addition. You had a $569,000 difference due to the pension accounting accrual with IPERS. And overall, your full accrual is showing a $5 million positive bottom line. The third set of financial statements is your internal service funds. This is full accrual for just the health insurance fund. At the end of the year, you had $504,000 of cash and cash equivalents. Last year, that was about $555,000. Turning over to the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes of fund balance. You had $79,000 of total operating revenues. Last year, that was about $93,000. Your total operating expenses were $122,000 compared to $88,000 last year. Overall, you had a net loss. You were using some of the net position from prior years of $43,000 negative net loss. So I think that was planned to use up some of that balance. So, and then the last statement with the those is the statement of cash flows. Shows the decrease of cash of about $51,000. Get to your cash equivalents at the end of the year of $504,000. The last two exhibits are Exhibit J and K. These are your custodial funds. This is the money that comes in and goes right back out to the different, your schools, the colleges, townships, and all the other ones. So this is all just held on behalf of the other organizations. The biggest asset is you have $22.6 million of property tax receivable that's offset with the deferred revenue down at the bottom half of the page. That's $22.6 million out of $24.9 million of assets. All this is just you're holding basically until it's received and then paid out to those organizations. The following quite a few pages are your footnotes and supplementary information. You can turn over to page 61, one of the last few pages, to go over your schedule of findings and responses. On the top half of the page is your findings related to financial statements. You'll note that under internal control deficiencies and an instance of non-compliance, we make a note that there's no matters were noted, which is positive. Part 2 is the other findings related to required statutory reporting. The 14 items that we're required to look at, 11 of them are positive. The first item, certified budget, the disbursements during the year ended June 30, 24 exceeded the amount budgeted in the county environment and education function. We just want to point out that you should have amended it in accordance with chapter 331 of the Code of Iowa before disbursements were allowed to exceed the budget. Something where we'll get, I guess we just need to point out that it's exceeded and that we need to try and improve that for going forward. A bunch of the next ones are positives. Item L is the economic development. The county paid $25,000 to the Shelby County Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The county is providing oversight of these funds, so we just need to disclose that it's paid out. That you are aware of this, that you're thinking that it is economic development, and that you note it as that when you make the funding. Item M is your financial condition. You had one fund, had a deficit balance in the Special Revenue Conservation Fund of $15,000 negative. Just something to watch to make sure that you're not spending more money than you have. And sometimes, you know, there might be a grant coming in that gets paid out before the money is received, and just try and watch that. Make sure that funds get put into the or you're not writing checks you can't cash. Last item, letter N, is their inter-fund transfers. All fund transfers made in fiscal 2024 were not approved by fund transfer resolution. I think that was just a simple overlook. I think it was approved in the budget, but it needs to have an actual resolution. So I think we looked at it that when we were looking at 25, those were actually being approved. It just got overlooked one year, so. That is my prepared comments. I guess, are there any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. How much revenue is generated from your investments in the general funds? Do you have that dollar amount?
Unrestricted investment earnings on Exhibit B are $252,000. That would include all funds. So I don't know if I have that for necessarily in most of that is in the general fund, the use of money and property. That would also include any rents on the county farm. Or, yeah, you guys have. So I can't tell you a dollar amount of exactly of the cash investments of how much that is. But I'm sure it's 200,000 roughly.
Well, I'd just like to say there'd be no discrepancies moving forward with our new auditors.
Right. Good job.
Yeah, good work on
This
that.
was 24
Right.
when this ended.
Right.
Well,
That sounds good.
due to turnover, yeah, we'll get 25 in a
Yeah.
more timely manner, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, reading again.
Yeah.
Okay, Trevor with the secondary roads report. Chris is gone today, so we have the assistant engineer.
Good morning.
How are you today?
It's a little chilly out. Not terrible though.
think?
Got a nice coat.
Put your chin knitting on.
Yeah. Yeah. I got handouts for you. Price.
Yeah, I've seen this one before.
This is for driveway variance, or just start on the item on the agenda. Basically, when you read it and you see Highway 44 coming from the east, is their only visibility issue there. The sight distance there would be for about 40 to 35 miles an hour, and that's that second page is a little chart for the speed versus the distance. Every other turn onto that intersection is good sight distance, it's just coming from that east, turning south. And you got to turn, so you're thinking slow down. Chris didn't really see any issues with it. It's around that 275 foot, so it's around that 40 to 35 mile an hour range. Depends how fast someone wants to accelerate coming from that intersection.
Yeah, I talked to him and there was a problem here.
Nope, I don't see a problem, like right across the road from it's a driveway that's been there forever, so there's never been an issue. So, do we have a motion to approve this variance?
Motion.
Now, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Other news in the county for secondary roads, the big white snowball we got outside. It always seems like it happens on a holiday weekend, but guys are ready, we sent them out. We had trucks go out Saturday and continual snowfall through Saturday, so we sent maintainers and trucks out on Sunday. And it depended on whatever they got done with their routes, we got done blading, all that stuff. And for what I can see, we've got everything cleared out and ready for the next snow.
Good.
M16, pretty much open. Nothing to report there. Crews should be gone, it's painted, all concerned, so.
Nice and smooth.
Did you get the guardrail up? You were working on
Yep,
that?
that's been up for about a week now.
Okay.
Week and a half.
Hope we get several years out of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully a lot more than several. So, that's all I had. If you have any questions or anything. pretty much all I
Nope.
had.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Trish.
you coming in.
Yep.
Where do I
Short,
sign
sweet.
this?
Hmm?
Where do I sign this at?
Under the remarks, just in that
Right here?
general area.
There you go. Thank you. Todd Valeen with the chamber report.
Todd? Morning.
Good morning.
We have a quick report today. It's just more of a holiday update than anything else. So Saturday night, we were unable to hold the tree lighting ceremony. So I was on the phone last night with Santa and was checking his schedule for Sunday of this weekend. And he is available to come to Harlan and help us out. So we'll be putting all that information out today, but it'll be Sunday night at 5 o'clock that we'll hold the tree lighting ceremony. And then Saturday is our Santa Claus is Coming to Town annual. And so what we do is we go to take Santa Clauses to different towns and set up. We'll have 6 different communities that we go to this year. And at each stop, Santa meets with the kids, and the kids put their name in a hat, and we have a stocking that we give away at each stop. And it's always been fun. Hopefully it'll be cold, but hopefully no slickness on the roads, because we did have one year where it was very slick, and I told Santa I don't need a picture in the paper of me wrecking you in the car. So looks like it's going to be a good day though to have that. And other than that, we're just putting together, our normal. We'll have the Santa in the Cabins program at the museum, and with that new sidewalk and stuff they have between the cabins, that'll be nice and make it a lot easier to do. But we're just out taking Santa everywhere we can. So
Kids will appreciate that.
yes, they will. Yes, they will. Yeah. So.
Can I get Santa's phone number? I got a special request that I need to ask him.
Yeah, I'll
He
send
he watches this online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I can do that. I can get. Oh, and a correction to something I said at the last meeting. If people are applying for hotel motel for the first quarter, those applications actually need to be in on the 24th at noon. Just because our office won't be open after that. So.
Good to know.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Committee reports, Mr. Mike.
A couple of things here. On November 20th, they attended the Iowa Health and Human Services Town Hall
Yes, I talked
on
to
behavioral health, and a couple of things. One big thing that stood out was they had a survey where they changed over from the regions to the districts. Surveys showed that they did a really poor job of that changeover. And they were very blunt about it and very open and took responsibility for it. So the communication was poor. Nobody knew exactly what the changes were going to be. It really increased the workload of the regions. And in the new districts, they're finding out increased workload there. So hopefully they learned, and we'll do a better job going forward with communication and education. But they did a poor job of that. 19th Chamber of Commerce Industry Board meeting. They developed a new seasonal membership. I think Todd's talked about that, where a business only operates during the winter or only during the summer, say lawn service or snow removal or something like that. They can get a 6-month chamber membership, and it's half price of the regular. So if you're just a seasonal and you'd like to become a chamber member, that's available now. And on the 24th, the compensation board met and discussed the salaries and things for elected officials. So we'll be taking a look at those, obviously, when budget time rolls around. And I'd like to thank the compensation board for their work on that. Ahead of time, they put in some good hours, I think, researching where our elected officials stand in relationship to other counties in the state. We above, below each different position. So did a good job doing that and brought that information to us. We'll be sharing it with the full board here and
Soon.
going through that soon. Yep. So that's it.
Charlie?
Last Thursday, I had a meeting in Council Bluffs with Hungry Canyons. I had a gentleman there who spoke on the history of the Missouri River, which was very interesting. I found it very interesting. Thursday, I have a SWIPCO meeting in Atlantic, and that pretty much covers it for this.
Since last meeting, I had a EMA committee meeting, EMS committee, and juvenile detention facility meeting, and general business at all of those, nothing to report. So we will move on to consider approval of resolution 20. Did I miss one?
Department heads.
Oh, department heads, sorry. Any department heads out there? Okay.
Nobody that wants to report.
We will move on. Consider approval of resolution 2025-25 approving homestead and military credits and exemptions for tax year 2025. Karen?
I'll just read it. Whereas pursuant to section 425 and 427 of the Code of Iowa, the assessor of Shelby County has delivered all signed homestead tax credit and military exemption credit applications to the Shelby County auditor, and whereas the assessor of Shelby County has reviewed each claim and recommends each to be allowed or disallowed. Whereas pursuant to section 25B.7 of the Code of Iowa, if a state appropriation made to fund a credit or exemption is not sufficient to fully fund the credit or exemption, the political subdivision shall be required to extend to the taxpayer only that portion estimated by the Department of Revenue and Finance to be funded by the state appropriation. And be it resolved that the homestead tax credit and elderly and disabled tax credit will be paid by Shelby County at the estimated percentage funded by the state of Iowa. And be it further resolved that the military exemption credit will be apportioned to levying bodies at the estimated amount funded by the state of Iowa. Be it further resolved that all claims on file in the office of the auditor of Shelby County, Iowa be allowed as recommended. And be it further resolved that the auditor shall include each of these allowed claims on the list of taxes to be collected during the fiscal year ending June 30, 2026.
Questions? Any questions?
Nope. Motion approved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved unanimously. Okay. Consider approval of the annual urban renewal report for fiscal year 2024-25.
So this report is the TIF funds received from taxes, and then the secondary roads will give us a list and amount, and we use those funds to reimburse secondary roads for their roads projects. So this year the TIF revenue was a little over $225,000. And then with reserves, we paid to secondary roads $254,000. We have a balance in that account of $38,627.
Questions, guys?
Nope.
Make a motion to approve the urban renewal report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Up next, you gentlemen feel we need to enter into closed session on the next item?
I don't believe so. It's been exhausted by other committees and agencies.
Charlie?
No, that's fine.
Okay. You have a employee separation agreement that we are considering here today, and we need to authorize the board chair to sign that agreement on behalf of the county. Basically, this situation has been reviewed by our county HR attorney and the EMA executive committee, and this agreement was drawn up in consolidation with those two entities, and everybody is on board with this agreement. So can I get a motion to approve this separation agreement?
Motion.
Yeah, and I would just like to say one thing before I vote on that, that these separation agreements are always tricky and they're seldom perfect for either party. And, I was not in on the closed session meeting with the executive committee, that's your position there, and so I'm just gonna trust that the executive committee and our legal counsel provides the best possible outcome for the county and protects us from further financial liability for the taxpayers. So with that said, I will second the motion.
Okay. Marcus, do you have anything to add at all?
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.